We'll call the December 10th meeting of the Planning Commission to order, and we'll begin with the pledge of the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Haddon? Mr. Perkovich?
Here.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Here.
Mr. Varga?
Here.
Mr. Snow?
Here. Entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of the November 12th meeting.
I moved. Second.
When you're ready.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Haddon?
Yep.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
Yes.
Mr. Snow?
Yes. Entertain a motion for, public hearing this evening and the conditional use permit to allow outside dining and or drinking at 9141 Jordan Drive. The format we follow for public hearings, we allow the applicant an opportunity to tell us what they'd like to do. And then those wishing to speak in favor are afforded a similar opportunity. And those wishing to speak against are given their opportunity. So with that in mind, conditional use permit to allow outside dining by the applicant. Who's forward? Is that applicant?
Larry, I don't see the applicant, the attendees.
I don't, there's a call-in user. I want to unmute that. Maybe he's calling in. Hello, call-in user. Are you here for the first item?
No, I'm here for specialty grocer.
Okay,
So,
let's try Matt here. Hello, Matt. Which item are you here for?
Specialty grocer.
Okay.
so with that in mind, I entertain a motion to table that one till subsequent time as the applicant shows up.
Motion to table.
Second.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
Yes.
Mr. Snow?
Yes. Under old business, both items are tabled, and as well as item 6. So, under new business, final site plan of a retail building at 9474 Manor Avenue. Is that applicant here?
Yes, he is. I will unmute him now. Bob, you're unmuted.
So give us an overview of what you'd like to do.
Bob, are you there?
Yeah, good evening. This is Bob with Charlie. Actually, Dave Sambor is also going to be attending. He'll do the initial presentation. Can you unmute Dave? Do you see Dave on?
I'm unmuted now.
There you are.
So yes, thanks for looking forward to the second meeting here for the final site plan for the specialty grocer. I guess you are familiar with the plan from the first submission, where we have a new structure being built. We have incorporates items from the first site plan. There again, perfect drawing to actually show here. This one, I guess I would like to just kind of go through the comments. So overall, the staff comments, we have no issues with those comments. There's a few items though I would like to clarify through there. The final site plan comments, as far as the confirmation of the engineering and fire department's comments, yes, we will comply with that. Number 2, regarding the existing access easements being vacated, yes, we will have that in place prior to the building permit. Number 3, the cart corral along the north building elevation. The request is to have that extended further to the east. I guess on that one there, we would like to, I guess we get some clarification on that. Right now, our cart corral at the front of the store is per the criteria of the perspective of the tenant. And so they did not look to have that larger. They prefer to keep the landscaping and more outdoor display area in the sidewalk in the front of the building versus increasing the cart corral. On number 4, yeah, that's not an issue to shift the car corral along the west edge further south. As you can see, the landscape drawing here does actually show that where we look to locate that, if that's acceptable with the committee, which has that car corral just south of that landscape island along the west property line. Item 5, yes, we understand the noise control and will comply with that. Number 6, regarding the evergreen plant materials, I guess we'd like to discuss this in conjunction with the other east elevation comment. So let me come back to that. Number 7, the curbing to installed, yes, we'll comply with item 7 as well. So as far as the east elevation, there was 2 comments related to that. One on the east elevation had to do with the planting of evergreens, and the other had to do with the request to either do blacked out windows, or continue the brick up to that 10-foot height. So yeah, we're happy to comply with making revisions over here. I guess we'd like to get some, maybe just discuss the design aspect of that. Initially, we went with the kind of I don't know if you happen to have the elevation and you could look at. But that east elevation, versus just having a solid line of brick, we felt it was more visually pleasing to have the brick in where we had some variation happening along that facade. And this just seemed to be a more visually pleasing versus just running the brick straight across all the way down a single line down the building. And then we were kind of wondering if we were going to do the brick, would we want to also do the evergreens, which seems the intent would be to hide if we're putting evergreens along the side. So I guess we're open to whatever the committee would like to see there. I guess we just had some concerns on the design side of what would be the most appropriate for that. And then the other item to discuss is the rooftop equipment. And yes, we will screen it. We just need a little clarification. I know the code reference here for screening, 1162, referred to things on grade, not to roof. The design guidelines does talk about the roof, but it gives kind of a vague statement as far as screening them. So we just wanted some clarification on, some people want to just screen from, like, say, a sight line from the main road for the screening. So again, we can comply with whatever screening requirements are necessary. With a little more clarification on what that screening should be.
So basically, we're in agreement on all the conditions, except for number 3 for the car corral extension. We like to keep that as it is, just based on the tenant input, and then some discussion on, or some discussion clarification on under the architecture review for item 1. Is that correct, Dave?
Yeah, that's correct. And just a combination of the request for we want the brick and evergreens on the side. Whichever combination is acceptable, we can go with.
Do you have a comment?
Well, as number 3 is a staff recommendation, let me just clarify. Larry, could you magnify that area of the front of the building? I think the main concern we had is we tend to see, areas where there isn't enough cart storage. So we felt that, and it was a little odd that it just the cart storage just stopped short of the end of the building. We thought it just made more sense, and it would look better to just carry it across. Again, I don't know how many carts that corral holds, but again, we were just thinking of from a storage standpoint, we'd rather see them concealed than all over the parking lot. So if that area could be expanded, that's why we were recommending that. But obviously, defer to the planning commission if they like that stipulation or not.
And I guess I completely agree with the rationale and thinking on that. I guess where I would, in this case, look to default to is that this tenant is very particular about the same issue of not wanting carts all over the place. And they have a specific allotment that they want to accommodate within this car corral. And that's what kind of drove the size of it. There's a specific number and dimensions that they tend to use as their prototype for that.
Kathy, it's not a big deal either way as far as we're concerned, Kathy. It's just a matter of we went back to the tenant and they responded like, well, this works perfect for us. And we just want to pass that back onto the commission and into you guys.
Mr. Varga.
Wasn't going to address the cart storage, but I was going to address the comments about the east side of the building and the mechanical equipment enclosure. Certainly what you were proposing is just to run the brick straight across would be fine, I think. You could also leave the way the building is broken up and do an inset of brick in those lower areas if you didn't want to put windows in with the same color brick, but just allow for the kind of articulation of the wall with pillars and a sill. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. That's already a recessed panel. You're saying keep it as a recessed panel, but just
keep it pretty much the way it is, but you, instead of having that infill panel being stucco or ephes, that just have it be brick. And you could put a capstone on the top of it or whatever, and that would be fine too. And just keep the lines that you have in terms of the construction joints for the ephes above and the piers below, and I think that would be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We can make that adjustment.
And you really don't have to change much in order to do that. And then as far as the mechanical equipment, that's pretty well understood around here, is that not just from it's not from just the preliminary front of the building, but the fact that you can see it from all around this property, including an adjacent street that's just off the site plan, that we would want all the equipment to be completely enclosed, so that you're not looking at equipment, you're looking at some type of screen wall, or the appropriate kinds of materials you'd screen mechanical equipment with. But we're basically talking about 360 degrees. We're not just talking about from the front.
Oh yeah, I understand from the different angles.
Right.
And so it just usually comes down to the height issues on the screening. Some just match the height of the unit. Others would look at kind of a view line from those different angles. And that was the only clarification. We understand you want to have these things screened from all sides, and
right.
Per guidelines, they would be colored, to match the building.
Right. I would say because you have a number of different viewing angles from a number of different locations, that you would at least want to have the elements as high as the mechanical equipment, unless does the requirements just specify a height above.
I didn't see any of this. It just said to screen them is all I found in the design guidelines.
Right now I'm asking a question of Kathy.
So under 1162.06, item A3, the height of the screening shall be 1 foot more than the height of the structure.
Okay, and that's the requirement.
Okay.
Okay. I don't have any other comments.
So we're agreement on the brick, right?
I think we're good. We'll just put, yes, the discussion was to just have an infill panel in those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lower sections, just to infill and to keep the articulation, the joint lines of the piers and the surfaces for the brick.
So, Mr. Chairman, can the applicant then expand on the one requirement that we had was to provide some evergreen plant material along that east side property line? Are you suggesting that because with the brick that you wouldn't want to do the evergreen?
Was that a question for us, I believe? Sorry.
Yes, Dave.
I guess we could do both. I guess the question, if I like the idea of infilling with that brick, those panels. I think it's a nice articulated look. The question is, if you're going to create that nice look, would you want to put evergreens to block that look? Again, we're okay either way. I just want to, just ask the question.
Actually, I think we're okay going with the evergreens too, Dave. It might even kind of break that up and even give you a little more relief with some green there. We're okay extending some evergreens there.
Good.
Mr. Chairman, for the applicant, on the west side of the property where you're doing the property line adjustments, you're doing some work off-site, which I think a right of entry agreement is required. My question is, though, who's going to maintain those once you install them? Because right now they're on the adjoining property and not yours.
Who's going to? Our intent is we're going to redraw the property line, so we're actually going to deed over to Barb and Patty a portion of the existing land that's on our property. So once we deed that over, that would be Barb and Patty's property. So it would just be, they would maintain it just like they do the rest of their property.
So they're going to maintain your storm sewer system?
Oh, no. Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood your question. The storm system, we will maintain that storm system. It's going to be through easement.
Very good. I do have another question regarding the docking area. You have an 18-inch open culvert pipe to drain that area. Do you plan on putting a grate over that so garbage can't flow into the storm sewer system?
I mean, we could. I mean, I don't know if Matt's on here or not, but that's an easy solution to do. I mean, we typically go with grates over lines, for even some signs of security issues, so safety issues. So it's not a big deal. We can easily do that.
Thank you.
Should we make that a condition?
Sure.
I entertain a motion.
By the way, Matt Weber, the civil engineer, is on. He did just text me saying yes. Adding the grade is fine, but he's the one you unmuted before. So if we do have a specific civil question, he is available.
Well, okay, Matt, since you're on the line, as part of the post-construction management, are you going to have a device toward Route 20 that would pick up the debris and the paper and whatnot that gets into the storm sewer system?
From the dumpster or from the loading dock area?
Yeah, I mean, an 18-inch pipe is pretty big.
Yeah, we certainly can do that. We can either have something specifically manufactured, or get a typical trash rack and put it on there. But that won't be a problem. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, just a reminder, we need any speakers to identify themselves, maybe spell their names for the benefit of the Assistant Clerk of Council.
I'm sorry. This was Matthew Weber, Weber Engineering.
Yes.
So if that's going to be made a condition, could George clarify the actual language for the condition?
Well, Matt, you can make that as part of your stormwater, your best management practice. Would that be in the best management maintenance agreement?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, we could do that.
So that's something the city of Mentor would review and comment on. So I don't know if we need to make a change because it's kind of covered under SD 27 in their comments. But you should clarify about the easements, because right now you're not saying you're having easements on the storm sewer systems on the joint property.
So do we want to amend number 3 regarding the extension of the cart corral? Or do we satisfied with the applicant?
Or just eliminate it?
Or just eliminate it and go per plan, per their plan?
Kathy, did you feel comfortable with their explanation? Yes, no, maybe?
I think it's just hard to tell at this point if they're going to have adequate storage for the carts. We've seen it on other sites where it becomes a problem. Maybe that's something that could be modified at a later date for a condition. If cart storage is not adequate, the administration will have the ability to require it at a later date.
Mr. Chairman, why not just a stipulation that sort of, dovetails off of what the applicant's representative have said? Just, there shall not be carts stored outside in excess of what the capacity of the cart corrals may hold.
That's good.
That sounds great.
That's why we're the lawyer.
All right, so modifying number 3 for that state. Yeah.
Is that a motion?
Motion to approve the final site plan, if everyone's on board. The 7 conditions, the 3rd being modified as suggested.
Second.
Second.
Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Haddon,
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich.
Yes.
Mr. Tiedemann,
Yes.
Mr. Varga,
Yes.
Mr. Snow.
Yes. Review.
And based on our discussions, we would alter the first architectural review condition so that the 8 panels on the 8 stucco panels on the east side to be inlaid with brick.
Second.
And then we have the roof-mounted equipment. It does state the requirement, but I would just want to add that it is 360-degree coverage and 12 inches above the top of the equipment.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Varga?
Yes.
In the past, there's been, a little ambiguity over color, and I know the applicant's representative suggested it would match. I just thought maybe that condition could be a little bit more specific, since that issue has come up on other projects.
You're correct. Would you suggest a color, applicant?
Well, I guess probably the best way to blend in may be to match the stucco 1 color. So whatever that stucco 1, which is the main building color you see, that the screening will be colored to match.
So, everyone's, yes, I think that would be acceptable. So the second condition will be that the rooftop mechanical units will be screened from all off-site views to an extent of 12 inches above the height of the equipment, matching the predominant color of the stucco on the building.
Second.
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Haddon,
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich.
Yes.
Mr. Tiedemann,
Yes.
Mr. Varga,
Yes.
Mr. Snow.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant of item number 1 is on.
We'll go back. Item 1, and move it from the table.
Make a motion, move from the table.
Second.
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Haddon,
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich, Mr. Tiedemann,
Yes.
Mr. Varga,
Yes.
Mr. Snow.
Yes. Right ahead.
Jeff,
Yes, sir.
you're unmuted. You can explain what you would like to do.
Okay, on the west side of our building, we have an existing outdoor patio. And we would just like to make it that we can serve food and beverages out there. As of now, we can't have any outside. I did get the permission from the liquor control. We have the permit for them to extend into the outdoor patio area.
Jeff.
So that is what we would like to do. Yes?
Would you identify yourself for the clerk, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Jeffrey Jukowicz, Jukiewiczz. I'm representing Ambets Post 40.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The outdoor patio is already enclosed in. I enclosed with my application to you a letter from the owner of the Corduroy's Pizza next door that she doesn't have an issue with us utilizing that patio. That would be the one wall, and then there's a 6-foot fence in the front and the rear of the patio already.
So you see the 6 conditions.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if anyone's on the line to speak in favor or against, but the record should reflect whether or not that's the case.
Mr. Chairman, there is one person who would like to speak on this issue.
Okay.
I will Laura, you are now unmuted.
Yeah, hi, I'm Laura Single, and I just want to say, Jeff, you guys are great neighbors. I am directly behind you. Your fence borders my back property. I don't have any issue at all with the patio at all. I did want to just find out just a few things. So will there be live music outside during the summer?
No.
We can mention that.
That's one of the conditions.
That was one of the conditions. Alrighty, that's fine because, like I said, we are in a residential area. But also, is it possible when you're going to be doing the renovation for the patio, the fence, the wood fence that, like I said, that you have that borders my property is falling down? Is it possible that you could repair those broken panels that are leaning inward toward the back of your area?
Yes, that's not a problem. It's actually in our budget to replace that fence this coming year.
Okay.
I noticed the other day I was there and a tree fell from your property and it's actually on our fence, so we're going to get that taken care of in the next couple of days here.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually called Lloyd Hatton, who lives in the area, to have him take a look at that. So, so if we both work on that together, that works great.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay, so the fence is going to be repaired. That's in your plan. That was my one concern with people in the back at a patio. I would just want to be careful that there's no entrance directly into my property.
Right. We have a fence. Actually, there's one on your property and there's one against our building too.
Okay.
That's going to be replaced also.
Okay.
We'll replace that hopefully by the middle of January.
Okay.
And then once the weather breaks, we're going to redo the fence that's adjacent to your property.
Okay, that sounds terrific. Well, that was all. I just, I'm for the outdoor patio, and I just wanted to be here just for support and also just to hear what the plans were. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Need an address?
We need her address.
Yes. Mr. Rastetter, could you ask her to please provide her address?
Yes, I'm sorry. I had typed it in the Q&A. It's 9144 Headlands Road.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion with the 6 stipulations.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a quick question I can ask. So this patio is 10 feet wide?
Correct.
And it looks like it's about, I don't know, 180 feet long?
No, it's actually, I think it's 55 feet long, actually.
You're just talking about the edge of the building, between the 2 building walls?
Correct. It would go all the way to...
Well, some of it goes in front. Some of it goes all the way to the parking area. My question...
There's a fence there somewhere.
Okay, I'm just looking at the area on the drawing, the document that you brought. It's on the screen right now.
It stops at the end of the building.
Okay. How does a person get into this space?
There's an access door from the building that is probably right where the O is on the where you have that outdoor patio.
Yeah, the outdoor or the patio?
Right.
Which O?
Right where the beginning of my yellow is, right by the mechanicals there. About 3 feet from the mechanicals is a door that you enter and exit. for the ambulance itself.
Okay, so there's probably, my concern is that you have a space between two buildings with a fence closing off the end that's more than 25 feet long.
There's a gate that's in the fence at the end of the building, and it's actually, there's a gate at the front on the south side where it says existing 6-foot fence. That's a gate also. I talked to the fire guy because I had a bunch of egress.
Right, that's what I was getting at. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't create a corral here where people got caught in a fenced-in area between two buildings and they couldn't exit.
On the picture you have up now where that sign is, that's an 8-foot gate right there that opens. And then that is actually open into that garbage area. But the shed, there's a little shed there.
Right, I see. That's the front. Well, that's right. What about the other end of the space?
At the other end, there's a 6-foot gate there also. Between us and Corduroy, yeah, you can see a gate right on that's a gate right there.
Okay, that answers my question. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a dead-end situation where people were caught between two buildings and couldn't get out. All right, thank you.
I called your fire prevention, and they told me I had to have points of egress, and those were already existing gates.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So,
6 items on.
Mr. Chairman.
5 conditions.
Mr. Chairman, just a reminder, these virtual meetings give law directors nightmares, so if we can just confirm that there's no one else to speak in favor or against, then formally close the public hearing.
There is no one out there within the attendee list.
Okay, 5 conditions.
Motion to approve with 5 conditions?
I have one question real fast.
All right.
I seen that you, the administration had a recommendation that no roof and wall structure, no enclosed patio, basically. We were wondering if it would be, we'll do the permits and everything and bring it to the city, but just a roof structure over it without any wall enclosure at all.
Mr. Chairman, I spoke with the chief building official, and that was actually his recommendation for a condition. So any other plans to alter that space, I would highly recommend that you speak to him directly.
Okay.
That proximity of the adjacent building on the adjoining property is a concern. So that's why he doesn't want it completely enclosed.
Okay, like I just wanted to do a roof, no walls at all. Just a roof, if it starts to rain, to keep some people out of the rain.
Again, I would speak to Mr. Jim Decker.
Okay.
And find out if that is permissible or not.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah, and for his information too, I believe this starts to become a building code issue with construction that close to the property line. I don't think you're going to be allowed to do any construction that close to the property line.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
So let's close the public hearing, right?
Yes.
Right. Motion to approve with 5 conditions?
Second?
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
Yes.
Mr. Snow?
Yes.
You're all set, sir.
Okay, I appreciate it very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Kathy, anything else?
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.